I want to emphasize something for myself. Previously, you said that the entire process of inner search of that force that's controlling me shouldn't influence my day-to-day life at all. So I want to depict a picture. Suppose today, midday, I get a phone call. My kid at school, God forbid, he's sick. I take the car, leave work, go to school, take him to the doctors. Any normal person does that. On the way, I start worrying. I start worrying what's going to happen, what does he have, maybe the doctor won't know. I have concerns, meaning I have different thoughts in my mind that until he called me a moment ago, I didn't have them. Right. Now, throughout this process where I'm taking to the doctors, I want to start following all the desires and thoughts that I'm experiencing to identify their source. So what do I do now? I take him to the doctor. What do I do about the thoughts? What do these thoughts and desires have to do to you? All in all, they came to you in order for you to discover that higher thought, where all in all, by giving you these different unpleasant situations in life, by that, by these means, unpleasant means, different circumstances, states, and so on, they bring you back to the higher system which you wish to be cleaved onto, that you want to discover why and how. How do I arrange things for things not to happen this way? And then you'll even start to want to be connected to the higher system, even without anything happening, anything bad happening to me. I simply want to live in the higher mind and desire. Why? Because that is the human level, the degree of Adam. In Hebrew, Adam means to be like the higher force, and not living as an animal, going here, going there, reacting, not knowing why things happen. So when you say on our show, I want to start identifying, you said this many times. What does it mean? I want to identify. When I get into the car and want to go someplace, I write on the Waze the address that I have to go to. The Waze identifies it and takes me there. How do I know that I'm starting to identify? How do I know that I'm taking a first step in the right direction you're talking about? Is my question clear? Of course. So what's the answer? It's very clear. I simply want to be cleaved on to that higher thought that there is none else besides him, besides that higher force, which is constantly governing me. And atop all of these disturbances, interferences that this world presents me with, I all the time want to be specifically with that higher force that does it all, and not that this world has any kind of independence of its own. Isn't it fantasy and illusion, religious fanatism? I'll say about everything, it comes from you, that comes from you, but it's fantasy. No, not to say. I want to feel, I want to live it, I want to discover. And revelation is something that happens in the desire. Through the thought, you come to the desire for it to reveal in a way that I will live this force and be cleaved on to it. And if I'll really want to discover him, it means that I'll discover him? Yes. And that is the purpose of that higher force, which is controlling, operating each and every one of us, bringing us into big problems and troubles and the general world crisis, because the time has come for all of us to start discovering it in practice and living as one man and one heart, in one desire between us and in the upper desire, all of us together, and all of us shall reach a state where all shall know me from small to great. This process we talked about regarding the search for the force that's controlling me, introducing me with all the thoughts and desires and everything else, like you're saying. How is it connected with everything being integral and the connection between people? Because we, by being connected on the level of this world, we connect specifically in order to find that one higher force. Because through these corporeal actions, we unite our thoughts and desires together, where in our connection, when we connect between us, but we don't connect because we're forced to, but we have the desire to discover Him, then, as a result, we'll start discovering Him. So there is a certain way that I have to connect with others in order to discover in our mutual desire the higher computer. Yes, that's exactly what we have to do. And there is the well-known sentence from the love of the created beings to the love of the Creator, that as a result or through the good and nice connection between us, that's called the love for the created beings, we will reach a state where we will discover that higher thought, desire called the Creator, Hashem. One last question. What's the connection between loving the people around me and discovering that force? One and the same. You discover that it's one and the same. Only towards people you're talking egoistically, but if you start acknowledging that it all belongs to you and to them and all of you are together in one thought and one desire, then you discover this higher force, the higher, the upper. And by that you rise from the animalistic level that you're on in this world, where you're operated and this why you're considered as an animal, to the human level, the level of Adam, where you're similar to the higher force, to godliness, and then you see a completely different world, a different reality, through a higher thought and desire, which is the whole and complete world, eternal world, which is called the Garden of Eden.